Hello student, today I am going to explain you experiment 3, that is employees database. Here we have 4 tables, that is employee table, department table, pay detail table and payroll table. All tables are associated with their columns names, that is in employee table we have employee ID and employee name. Now, with the table or a relation, we have associated constraint with them. That is, employee ID column have constraint that primary key employee ID will be your primary key. In department table, department ID will be your primary key. In pay detail table, your employee ID will be foreign key that will be referenced to employee table's employee ID, and department ID is a foreign key that will reference to department table with department ID. Now we have fourth one table, that is payroll table. In this we have two columns that are employee ID and pay detail. Now again employee ID will be referencing to the primary key of employee table. We always remember, if some column is a foreign key in our table, that will be primary key in that particular parent table. Is it clear with you all? Now we will move to the next table. Here we have 4 tables we have created with the syntax. Now we have first employee table. Data type is integer. Constraint we have put as primary key. In department table, department ID is a primary key, so we put primary key with this table. Now for foreign key, our syntax is, we want to create foreign key, column name. Column name is our employee ID that referencing to employee tables employee ID column. Same for pay detail table. Fine. We move to the next slide. Now we have inserted all the rows in our employee table, that is our table 1. Fine. We have updated 10 rows with employee ID and employee name. Move to the next table. Here department table, and we have inserted department ID and department name. Here next table, we have pay detail table. We have inserted employee ID, department, basics, deduction, addition and date of joining. Now we have fourth table, payroll table. We have inserted columns and their date of joinings. Now how we will fetch our tables? We fetch our table with the syntax select. Select star star for all the columns from employee. Employee is our table name. The same for department table, the same for pay detail and payroll table. Now we will move to next output tables. Through the select command we will get these 4 tables. Here we have first query. See, our query is saying list employee details department wise, column, order employee ID, employee name, department ID, department name, basic, deduction, addition, date of joining and pay details. Here we have a question. Now what we want details of all the employee. Now we have multiple tables are here and multiple table have same columns. How we can justify which employee ID is belonging to which employee? So for this we will use employee dot employee ID. What this employee dot employee ID is representing? This representing we want employee ID from employee table, right? So we have put select employee dot employee ID. Next employee name. Here I haven't mentioned employee dot employee name because in all tables we have only one employee underscore name. So my query processor will not confuse from where I have to fetch employee underscore name. Next department dot department ID, department name, pay detail dot basic, deduction, addition, date of joining, pay date. These all columns I have to fetch, that is mentioned in our question. Here, from which table I have to create, that will be here. From employee, department, pay detail and payroll tables. Now we have to specify the constraint, how these table will be joined together. So I have mentioned certain constraint, that is employee dot employee ID will be equal to pay details dot employee ID, where these two employee ID will be equal fetched from that particular table. And next constraint is department dot department ID is equal to pay detail dot department ID, means department ID from department table is equal to department ID of pay detail table. Then you will be joining these two tables. And third one is employee dot employee ID will be merged with payroll dot employee ID. And I want certain order that is already given department wise. So I have mentioned order by. Order by order by command will be providing you order according to the according to which I will got that particular data, right? Now we have output for this. Yes, employee ID, employee name, department ID. You are getting my point. I have set ordered by. So order first department 1, then department 2, then department 3 and then department 4 and so on. Fine. I hope you are getting my point. Next, I have query 2. Query 2 is saying list all employee who joined or who joined at 12th Feb 1996. Here the question is misprinted. I want all the employee who have joined after 12th Feb 1996. Right? So I have one condition, date of joining is greater than 12 February 1996. So I have one solution. I want list all the employee. It means I want employee ID, employee name and date of joining. So I have selected select employee dot employee ID, employee name, date of joining from employee, comma, pay details. From these two tables I have to fetched my data. Here is these two tables, employee and pay detail. By this I will get these all columns, where now I have to put the equality condition, that is employee dot employee ID is equal to pay detail dot employee ID. And now what I wanted to do, now I have to select employee ID from pay detail where date of joining is greater than 12th February 1996. So this query will give output to me employee ID, employee name, date of joining after 12th February 1996. And this will be my output. You are seeing here date of joining of all the employee are after 12th February 1996. Fine. Now I have third query. List the detail of employee whose basic salary is between 1200 and 2500. Now what I want all the details of employee which have salary range between 1200 to 2500. Fine. So I have to select employee dot employee ID, employee name, basics. From which table? From employee table and pay detail table. Now where I have condition employee dot employee ID will be equal to pay detail dot employee ID, and I want between constraint because I want a particular range that is between 1200 and 2500. So I have mentioned and basic between. Basic is my column which will be between 1200 and 2500. order by basics. Fine. Order by basics means it will be sort according to basics of a particular person. That is, first after 1200 will become 1300, 1400, and lastly what? In between 2500. Here I have an output. It is given here. Employee ID, employee name, basics. So you are getting it, the salary or sorry basics is between 1200 to 2500. Fine. Now, give a count how many employees are working in each department. Now, I want to know in each department how many employees are working. So, I want department ID because I have to calculate according to the department ID. Fine. Next, I want count of employee. So, I have mentioned count. Count is one of the aggregate function who print number of rows in a particular column. From pay details, now I want group by because I have to create a group according to the particular department, and I have to create group according to department ID just because I want employees in each department. Order by department ID. Order by will do sorting according to the department ID. By default, it will do sorting in ascending. If I want it in descending, then I have to mention DESE. That is stands for descending. Now I have got the output. We have 5 departments, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 department, and now I have an count according to department ID. In department 1, we have 2 employees. In department 2, I have 3 employees. In department 3, I have 2 employees, and so on. Now, I have next query that showing give name of employees whose net salary is greater than 2000. Here, I have given net salary. Now, net salary meaning I have to calculate net salary first. I have given basic, I have given addition, and I have given deduction. So first I have to calculate net salary, that is basic plus addition minus deduction. Then I will calculate my net salary. Fine. Now what I wanted to know, I wanted to fetch name of employees. So I have select employee dot employee name from employee table and pay detail table because I have salary information from pay detail table, where employee.employee ID is equal to pay detail.employee ID, and basics plus addition minus deduction is my net salary, that will be greater than 2000. So here I have an output that is showing the net salary of employee greater than 2000. Now in 6 query, I have to fetch list all the details of employee, where employee ID is equal to 108. It means I wanted to fetch whole information of a particular employee whose employee ID is 108. Now I have to fetch data from all the 4 tables. So I have mentioned select star. Star means all the column from all the tables. Select star from, now we have to mention table name. So I have mentioned employee, department, payroll and pay detail, where I have to specify certain common conditions. That is employee.employee ID is equal to pay detail.employee ID, and department.department ID will be equal to pay detail.department ID. And for joining payroll and employee table, I have to give common condition, that is payroll.employee ID is equal to employee.employee ID, and have one condition, employee.employee ID should be 108 because I only want the information of employee whose employee ID is 108. Fine. So here we have an output with all the column, that is employee ID, employee name, department ID, department name, employee ID, pay details, employee ID, department ID, basic, deduction, addition, date of joining, etc. Fine, I hope you got my point. Thank you.